I remember the night it all began, as if it were yesterday. The full moon hung low in the sky. Wonder had always been different from the other young men in our village. While others were content with hunting, farming, and following the ways of our ancestors, Wonder wanted more. He wanted wealth. The moonlit tree stood deep in the forbidden part of the forest, a place few dared to enter. It was said that once every 10 years, under the full moon, the tree bore fruit. But this was no ordinary fruit. Those who had seen it and lived to tell the tale described it as glowing silver, pulsating like a living heart, filled with a nectar so rich that a single bite could grant untold prosperity. But one day did not believe in spirits. He believed in himself. So, on the night of the full moon, armed with nothing but his spear and his arrogance, he walked into the forest alone. His friends, myself included, begged him not to go. We reminded him of the old tales, of the warnings passed down through generations. He only laughed. The only thing guarding that tree is fear, he said, and I do not fear shadows. With that, he disappeared into the darkness. That was the last night Wonder ever spoke. He returned just before dawn, his once proud stride reduced to an unsteady shuffle. His clothes were torn, his hands trembling, and his eyes were wide, unfocused, as if he had seen something no human was meant to see. Clutched in his hand, wrapped in a piece of cloth, was the fruit. The glow had faded, but it was still unlike anything I had ever seen. I asked him what had happened, but he did not answer. He simply pushed past me and disappeared into his hut. By morning, word had spread through the village. People gathered outside Wonder's hut, whispering, wondering. Some were in awe, believing he had defied the spirit and won. Others were afraid, knowing that nothing in this world comes without a price. That day, Wonder did not leave his hut, nor did he leave the next. When his mother, Mama Tendo, finally forced her way inside, she found him lying in his bed, drenched in sweat, his body shivering despite the unbearable heat. His skin had changed. Where it had once been dark and rich, it now shimmered faintly, as if dusted with silver. His lips moved, but no words came out. The village healer, Baba Jomo, was called. He examined Wonder, chanted over him, burned sacred herbs. But when he stepped away, his face was pale. "This is not a sickness of the body," he said. "This is something else." That night, as we all lay in our huts, a sound tore through the silence, a wail, deep and inhuman, a sound of pure agony. It came from Wonder's hut, but no one dared go near. When the morning sun rose, the wailing had stopped, and Wand was gone. Mother screamed his name, but there was no answer. His hut was empty, the bedding still damp with sweat, the head thick with something that smelled like burnt metal. The only thing left behind was a single silver leaf, resting where he had last slept.